Hello everyone, Blossom here from the Architect's Den. Welcome to this lesson. In this lesson, we'll be looking at Adobe InDesign for architects. Here, we'll be learning how to use Adobe InDesign to create presentation layouts, print layouts, brochures, architectural portfolios, and the likes. Adobe InDesign is a great tool used to create presentation and print layouts. So this lesson is divided into two main parts. We'll learn fundamental tools in InDesign and the principles of layout presentation in InDesign. So quickly, we are going to dive into Adobe InDesign. We'll be using version 2022. So this is the first layout that you see when you open the software. This is the welcome screen where you can choose to work with templates. You can choose to open a new file or you choose to create a new file or open an existing file. You can also access the same features here, new and open. Yes. So in this case, we are just going to open a new document. And here, I'm going to set our presentation layout. Here we can see several templates, web, print, mobile, and the rest. So we are going to work with our standard paper sizes because that's what we use in architecture. So we'll work with A3 paper size. We can work with A4 or let's just work with A4. A4 paper size. We'll set it to millimeters and then we'll set it, yes. Then you can see the standard sizes 210 by 297. Let's set it to 8 pages. Yes, this would determine the number of pages that we would have in our document. We can increase it if we need more. So we can also decide the orientation here, either landscape or portrait, and then these facing pages. So you would see the effect as we move on. You can leave every other thing as the same, leave the columns, leave the column gutter, leave the margins. Let's just work with this. So this margin is to create a boundary for our sheet paper, for our sheet. You would see it as we create, as the document is created, you would see the boundary. So you see this cyan line. It's a guideline. It's not actually on the paper, but it's just our margin to help us work better on the layout. Yes, so this is the first workspace this is the workspace you would land into. This workspace is called Essential Classic. This is the interface I prefer working with. The pages, properties. Most times the first thing you would see is essentials once you're launching the software. So you can go here, change the workspace to Essentials Classic. So that would bring in these other panels, the properties tab, the pages tab. If you don't see any of that, you can go to window and add any of the panels from there. So let's see that. I will just close this tab group so that we can see how I formatted my interface. So we can close all the tab groups. Then go to Windows and just look for properties. So once I click properties, the property tabs opens. So that way you can format your interface to suit what you want. Yeah, the top panel is similar to the properties tab. The properties tab has the basic functions that you would need for editing your document. The right panel has several tools that make you work easily on InDesign. So you can go to Windows, you see, yes, that's the tools panel. The tools panel. If you go to InDesign, to window, you click on tools, you see, you bring out that tools panel. Then the top part is the control panel. Yes, so that way you can, with this window, you can easily format your interface to suit what you want. So we can see our pages, the facing pages. Yes, facing pages means you can see the two pages. These are two pages as one spread. It's one spread, but it's two pages as one. A4 portrait, A4 portrait. So we are going to be learning several tools: the selection tool, the rectangular tool, the type tool, and the pen tool. So these are four main tools that we would learn that would be useful for us as architects in creating presentation layouts or our portfolios. Yes, so the selection tool, the frame tool, the picture tool, the type tool, and all. Yes, so I'll just start with the selection tool. So the selection tool is what you use to select all the elements in view. So if you just click and drag, all the elements in that temporary box is selected. So with the rectangular tool, we can create rectangle shapes. We can create rectangle shapes like so. Yes, adjust the color here. So on this properties tab, we can make adjustment to the color. So I just changed the fill from no fill to black. So you see that because it's a spread, rectangle shape spans through the two pages. So with selection tool, I can select that rectangle. You can see how it spans through the two pages. So that's why working with spreads can be fun. With the type tool, the next one I'm going to talk about is the type tool. With the type tool, you can format any type of type, just like your Microsoft Word type tool. So I would create a text box and edit in that text box. So in Adobe InDesign, you always have to create a text box to define the area of your text. So I'm just going to type in architectural portfolio. Yes, and then we'll just change the size. And to change the size, I would go to character. So you can open it here from Windows, type and tables, character. So yeah, here we can make all the major edits to the character. So I'm going to change. If we close it, you can bring it up again. Here, yes, type to character. You can now drag it to anywhere you want it. So I'm just showing you how you should arrange your interface. So on character, I can, yes, character and paragraph. These are the two ones that you would work with. So on character, I'm just going to change it to Space Cortex. This is the font that we use in the office. Yes, so that's what I'll be using for the purpose of this lesson. We'll increase the size like so. So there are similarities with InDesign and Photoshop. So if you already use Photoshop, you would understand easily some of the properties, yes, and some of the edit effects that are used in InDesign. So I'm just going to hyphenate to remove that hyphen, and the word continues in the next line. Yes, I'll just change some of the properties. Yes, like so. So I'm just going to leave it as this auto. And in paragraphs, I can change the alignments. Align center, align right, align left, change the justification. I can change the spacing between paragraphs and all. Before and after paragraph, I can change the indentations from here. So with this paragraph tool, I can make several edits based on the paragraph of that text box. So I'm just going to increase the text box like so you see this. Yes, I want to show you something now. Yes, so in working with text box, we have the leverage to overflow a text from one text box to another, and here we are going to see how it's done. So with this text, I'll just fill the text with Lorem is himself. That's placeholder text. Yes. So I filled it with placeholder text. This is just a dummy text to fill up the space of that. This is just a dummy text to fill up the space of that text box. I'll reduce the size. I just want to add more. Yes, so this, we can see this red arrow symbol on plus symbol at the bottom, and we can see the one arrow at the very bottom. If I go back to reduce the size, you see that has gone out. So if I increase the size, I see the arrow. This arrow just indicates that this text box has an overflowing text. Because of the size, the remaining text cannot be shown. Yes, because of the size you chose for your fonts and because of the size of the text box, it doesn't work. So I'm going to show you how to continue your text on another page, just the same way it's done in magazines and books. Yes, you won't necessarily need this, but then this is for the knowledge, just in case, and at occasions where you need to. So I just created another text box, and then I have two text boxes now. So I'm just going to click once on that plus button, and you'll see this icon that comes out, and I click on the next text box. So that way, the overflowing text just continues on the other page. Yes, so if I click it and click here, you would see that voila, the text, yes, the overflowing text shows completely now. So we are done with the error. It doesn't show error anymore. Alright, so if I increase the sizes like so, yes, if I format it like so, let's say I want to have a layout like this with a picture frame in the middle, and I want the text to continue. Yes, these are instances where you can use this to overflow or continue your text. So we can see that error there, which shows that this text box, the text boxes are still too small for the amount of text that's left. So yeah, so this frame, rectangular frame, with that frame I can work with images. So that frame, with the frame, I can create a layout that would have images in it. With the frame, I can create layouts that would have images in it. So I'm just going to create some layouts like so. I'm going to create some layouts like so. Then we will now import images to that layout. So we see how it's done. So we just drag and drop inside the frame. So once I drag and drop into the frame, it takes the shape of that frame. So I'm just going to click into the image. So it selects the image only and not the frame. Then I'll make adjustments to the size, change it to 25, reduce the size like so. Yes, reduce the size like so. Yes. So that way we have our text in that text box. I'm going to import another text to the text box. So just the same way, we drag and drop. So once I drag and drop, you would see the image pasted into that frame. Yes. Alright, so that's that about the frame tools. So with this, I can always create frame rectangles that would, that way I just create frame rectangles for easy recognition. So the next tool we are going to learn is the pen tool. So with this pen tool, you can create custom shape using parts, just the way you do that on Illustrator or Adobe Photoshop. So with the pen tool, I can create a custom shape and still apply an image to it. Alright, so once I import the image like so, I can now click inside and make the adjustments to the image only. So we can see that the pen tool helps us to create a custom image. So we just learned 4 main tools for working in InDesign. This will include the selection tool, which you can use to select all the images. You can select them to move around. Then the text tool, which you can use to create text box for your text. Then the pen tool to create custom shapes. Then a rectangular tool to create rectangles, and your frame tool, which you use to create rectangular frames. So next, I'm just going to delete this, and next we are going to So the next thing I want to show you is landscape orientation. Yes, so we'll just go to File to create a new file, or we can just go to Home. Yes, if we go to Home, create a new file, then we select the landscape orientation. Go to Print, select our sheet, A3 sheet, millimeters, landscape orientation. So in this landscape orientation, we are going to see the setup for landscape. We'll just uncheck facing pages because we don't want it to be that long. It's already landscape, so yes, that's the way to do it there. And I can also edit it in the document. So this is how to edit it in document. You go to File, Document Setup, and we change it. We can change the sheet from A3 to A4, from A4 to A3, sorry. Then uncheck facing pages and select your landscape orientation. So here we see that we have changed our document. We have changed our document setup. So that's the way to do it inside the document. If you want to set it up when you're starting the document, that's from new document, you can set it up from there. So next, I'm going to be showing you some sample portfolios. But before we go into that, here is a helpful tip to search portfolios. Go to issuu.com. Here you can search architectural portfolio, and you will be bombarded with several samples of architectural portfolios to choose. Actually, people upload their portfolios to this kind of websites. You would actually see a lot of architectural portfolios, a whole lot, for which you can browse through, especially student portfolios. You can select anyone, copy the link, open a new tab, ISSU downloader, search ISSU downloader, open the first page that comes, and you can paste the link you copied. So this way you can actually download several portfolios and save them as PDFs to your system. Yeah, so this is a helpful link to actually extract Adobe portfolios from ISSU with ISSU PDF downloader. Alright, so yes, we are just going to go straight into this. This is a sample portfolio, and here we are just going to learn the design principles that was applied while creating this portfolio. We are going to learn the layouts, we are going to learn the contents, and also we are going to learn the thought process that went into creating this portfolio. This is a cover page, simple cover page, but then it captures the elements of, it's quite unique, and it captures all the elements that are needed: the name, the year or of the person, location, and everything. Then next is so we see he works with spreads. The next page is his profile page, and this profile page just gives a brief background of the person: education, work experience, awards, honors, certification, and skills. So it's more like a CV in your portfolio. Depends on what the portfolio is for. I feel this portfolio is more like he uses it to apply for jobs or internships also. Yes, so if your portfolio, that's what you're looking to have, this is a format that you can follow. Yes. Next is table of content. It just shows the projects. So we are trying to focus, it's a portfolio, so you're trying to put your best works. I would recommend 4 to 6 just to show a wide range of works. But if it's only 3 you have, it's still fine. But then 4 to 6 just to show 4 to 6 that cuts across different building types or different architectural design types, just to show a wide range of experience. So the table of contents, then the portfolio page. So we see that in this portfolio pages, he grouped all his projects. Yes, it's more like he grouped the projects. So this is the first project. It has everything: the design process, the design development, the design solution, and everything together. Then we see project 2, the same thing. It has a cover page per se, or an introduction page. Yes, an introduction page. Then it now has the remaining pages that now explains the whole design and showcases the work done. It showcases the work done in that project. So we see everything here. The next project, we see the introduction page, then we still see the design solution or the project development, like design development. Yes, throughout. So that way you group your projects. It makes it easy for one to follow through. This is the next project, and we see that the introduction page and then the design development here, which also showcases other parts of the designs of development here, which also showcases other parts or the details about the design. Yes. So next, we are going to look at the second portfolio. So this is the next portfolio, and I'm just going to arrange it like so. Yes, next portfolio, and we see a simple cover page, simple but unique, it's attractive. Someone will want to know what's going on here. Then we see the table of contents and the resume page. Yeah, you put his photo, but you mustn't put your photo, right? You can choose to, yes, you can actually choose to put your photo, but it's not a must. Where you feel comfortable with, if you feel comfortable with that, then you include it. And if you're including a photo, you should include a professional photo, like not a casual, not where you're dripping or slaying or whatever, but then it's more like a very professional headshot or portrait, yes, which fits into the whole resume vibe. So next we see his projects. So you also see that he grouped his projects. You have the introduction page, then you now have the design development, all in the remaining pages. Same here, we have the introduction page, then we now have the remaining design development. So going through all this portfolio layouts, you would see that there is hierarchy in it. There's hierarchy in the sense that, okay, we see hierarchy. There are some things that are more important and some things that are less important. So that hierarchy helps us to follow through. Okay, this is more important. We see here the title is more important, then the details are less than the text. So you see that hierarchy shows what's more important, and it helps us to flow through the project. It's more like it directs our eyes to flow through. Let's see, like here we see the main image here, then the text, the details, then the supplementary image here. So all these layouts, they help to provide contrast. The difference in sizes, they provide contrast. You would see here we have a very large image here that spans this entire place. Then you would see the elevations here. So all this contrast in sizes actually help us to, it actually helps the layouts of the design. Yes, because contrast is very important. So the difference in sizes helps the contrast. It helps it to be more visually appealing. Going through all the projects, you would see that you would see the hierarchy is consistent. You would also see there is consistent use of fonts, and yes, there's consistent use of fonts, then there's consistent use of contrast. Yes, going through this whole project, you would see the flow. Then he grouped his interior renders too, or interior visualizations. Yes, then he added research experience. So that's for this. You can see the whole flow of this layout. Very simple, but then striking. He puts the important things and leaves out the less unimportant ones. So yeah, and here is the last portfolio we are going to be looking at today in this lesson. So yes, this is another portfolio, another Nigerian, though studied, yes, another Nigerian too. Most of these portfolios, most of them are Nigerians here, though some of them have had the privilege to school abroad. But then this now Nigerian from Unilag, I guess. But then, okay, we see the cover page, very simple cover page. It just has these line elements and then portfolio, and yes, it just has this line elements, then portfolio and her name. Yeah, her name. So in the next page, you would see her profile. So this is more like the CV that we talked about. So remember the contents of a portfolio, the cover page first, then the profile. So here in the profile, we see it's more like a mini CV, a rundown of her skills, summary, work experience, education, qualifications, publications, competitions, and research. So that's what you capture here, and also contact details if needed. Yes, so this is where you capture about yourself. And then the next, yes, the table of contents. So remember we said the table of contents comes after the profile. So just like we saw in the two previous portfolios, this is another one that follows the same format. Yes, we see she included up to 8 projects. Yes, so then this her portfolio is quite much and bulky, but then it still follows the same layouts and formats. You have small text or minimal text, and then more images because it's a portfolio. It's visual. It's a visual portfolio. So the text are just to describe and explain what's happening in the images. So you should take note of that. It's not a book. You're not including the text. Is just explanatory and descriptive text. Is more of the visual experience. So we see this project. She explains everything. It shows the site plan, shows some axonometric view, 3D blocks, explaining the concept development, shows the section, just different views that explain that project. Then the next project, the same thing. She has the main introduction page, and then now has the following pages. This should relate to the site analysis and concept development. Then you have the form development, then the design, the whole design. So you would see that there's actually a format to how the layouts play out. You'd see there's consistency to it. There's this title text, there's this text here that shows which project we are on. So it guides us on which project we are on. This is architecture of the senses. That's the title of the project. So we have this text that shows the project. So at any point in the project pages, we know what project we are looking on and the page number. So that way, yes, this is another project, Directorate of Student Affairs, and we see it changes here to Directorate of Student Affairs, and we see the whole conceptual development, explanatory, and then yes, this is another project. So you see the flow in that. This is an axonometric view. So for each project, you create your files. You make them ready. If you're including your axonometric view, if you're including the concept development, the form development, all this should be ready. So the portfolio, you're just compiling them, bringing out layouts that are suitable for the explanation of each project. So if you're going through every project, you see that it has this sort of story or explanation that just looking at it, it's more like you can flow through each project. Yes, hers is quite bulky, but then you get some of them, it has the full page as an image. Some of them just half page as an image, or small text like this. The whole page is the render, then the small text that explains the design story and all. So yes, that's the idea of the portfolio. You have your projects in groups, and then the pages that follow that explain it. So you see what we talked about: hierarchy, hierarchy, contrast, typography, and then she included her other interests. This is something you can include in your portfolio if you want to, but then the interest should actually relate to what we're talking about, or relates to architecture per se. If it's an architecture portfolio, I think it should be that your interest is meant to harness your architecture skills. So you see our interest, art. Yes, so this actually now influences her architecture philosophy. So this just shows a unique part of her, or unique perspective of her, that she's an artist, or just shows several of her work. And then the ending pages, with the ending last page, which is also a very simple page, similar to the cover page. So yeah, that's for that. So going through this, we actually see some resemblance in the three portfolios. We see the resemblance in the outline of the portfolio, the cover page, the profile page or the mini CV, the table of contents, and then the projects pages. You will see that in the three portfolios, they grouped their projects. Each project would have like 4 to 5 pages or 4 to 6 pages, just to show that flow or design story. So that's what you should adopt in your, you must not be that much. You can have your own as 4 pages, 2 pages, 3 pages, but then it should be multiple, should show that flow. Alright, next we are back to Adobe InDesign, and I'm going to be setting up grids for our portfolio layouts. So grids help us a guide to achieve a balanced portfolio layout. So I'll just go to File, New Document. So I'm trying to set up the grids from the onset. I always prefer to set it up from the onset. So we'll go to your, select your document, A3 landscape. Yes, so columns. So this columns tab is where we set up our grid. It's more like you're dividing the pages to different columns. So I unchecked facing pages and I clicked preview. With this preview feature, I can see or I can have a feel of what my columns look like. So you can see once I checked the preview, I can see it updates as I change the columns. So I think we're just going to work with 6 columns. Yes, see, I always prefer to work with 6 columns. And we'll change the column gutter to 5 or 6 millimeter. So this column gutter is just the space between the columns. Yes. So our columns help us to achieve a balanced visual layout. It's more like it guides us on how and where to place our elements. So we'll just start with 7 pages for now and we'll create the document. So you see that all the pages, the 7 pages, they come with that grid that we set up. So this way we are going to we are going to start creating our portfolio layouts with the grids. So to hide, you do Control semicolon to hide, Control semicolon to bring back the grids. If you don't want to see the grids, Control and semicolon. To bring it back, Control semicolon. Semicolon. So I'm going to create a rectangle. I'm changing the fill to black because we are working on our cover page now. Remember, the first thing is the cover page. So we are just going to set up a simple cover page. Alright, so we are going to create a text box. And this text box is just going to have our title, architectural portfolio. I'm going to change the color, yes, to paper color, that's white, so that we can see it, because I'm choosing to go with a black background. Then I'll change the font to Space Grotex Bold. So that's the font that we'll be using in this lesson. Here are some other font suggestions: Helvetica, Bebas New, Poppins, Space Mono, Futera, Montserrat, Garamond, Rubik, Roboto. So you can write this down, search online, download the font files, and install to your PCs. So these are 10 fonts that are recommended for your portfolio. But in this lesson, we are going with Space Grotex and change it to white. I'll increase the size a bit, then architecture portfolio. So next, I'm going to Yes, just like so. And I'm going to also have my name. So I can hold on Alt and drag to duplicate. Alt and drag to duplicate. Yes, so I can now edit, or you can choose to do copy and paste. Ctrl C, Ctrl V, yes, to copy and paste. So now I'm going to change this to my name just to give some context. Of course, you should actually always include your name to your portfolios, so that way you're assigning it to yourself. Just like we see Jude, every other person, they assigned names to their portfolios. You can put your name, you can put your level if you're still in school, the name of your school too. So I'm just going to change it to regular so that there is some sort of hierarchy in the text. Yes. So I'll just put my name and the year. Yes, the year. So that this is more like a subtitle. Yes. So the difference in size, actually, the difference in size and the difference in size and the difference in line width helps to it helps the contrast, it helps the hierarchy. So that, like that is, I'm just going to arrange it like so. And then okay, so I can choose to have another page. Yes, this one is simple and it's okay this way, but then I can choose to have a second page. Yes, we can see you can include a sketch, you can include, just like this other guy, you can include the sketch, you can include an image. So I'll just include an image here. Yes, so I use the frame tool, remember the rectangular frame tool, to create a frame for an image. So I want to put an image here. Yes, so it just gives some sort of contrast or an awareness of what to expect in the portfolio. You can choose to leave it blank. Yes, we saw Boluwatifer's own. It was just plain with the lines on it, but then I'll just drag and drop. So I drag and drop from my file folders. Yes, so it replaces the frame with the image. So I click inside the frame and I can edit the size of the image. Yes, so you see you can either select the frame or the image. You can see the red boundaries. The red boundaries show the extent of the image. To select it, I'll click inside. Then I can now edit the image inside the frame. So that way any changes I'm doing does not affect the frame. So to scale, I'm going to hold on Shift to scale proportionally. If I don't hold on Shift, you'll see it distorts the image, which we don't want. We don't want our image to be distorted. I'm just going to arrange it like so. And yes, we have our portfolio. Okay, I'm just going to adjust the frame a bit. I adjusted the frame. Yes, so we have our portfolio cover page, which works actually. It works. So to preview, I can go to screen mode, view, screen mode, and preview. So on preview, it removes all the grids and it previews it just like it would. Is a preview, so you can view it just like it actually is. Then also I can hold on Shift W to preview as screen mode like this. Shift W to preview as full screen mode. Yes. Or you can still access it from your view page. So next, I want to duplicate. Yes, I want to create a second cover page so that we just see another option of the cover page. So I'm just going to hold on Alt and drag my text to duplicate it. Then I'll go to my fill. So I go to my fill. Take notice of this. You would see that it's on your container. You would have to change it to your text. If not, the colors you're using would affect the whole container, the whole text box. So I'll just change it to my text so that the color is affecting the text only. Then I change to black. So that way, yes, if it's on container and I change to black, you would see that all the colors I'm using, it affects the whole container or the text box, and that's not what we want. So we'll just keep it as none. It's on this text that we can now edit the color of the text. So take notice of that. So I'm just going to give this cover page a different layout. Yes, I would just adjust the spacing. I would love to increase the size of this, but let's see. Yes, let me just work with the So next, I'll just create another frame because I want to include an image here. So I want the image to cover almost half, more than half. Yes, more than half of the sheet, or almost 2/3. I prefer it covers 2/3 of the sheet. Yes, so we have that image. I think I'll just have to change this to portfolio. Yes, remove architecture, yes, portfolio. Yes, so yes, that works. So I change this to portfolio and change the character formatting, increase the size a bit, and now place it there. Okay, so this is another layout that I think works for our cover page. Yes. So it depends on you, on the content that you're imputing in your portfolio, but then this is what I think works on me at the moment. So I'm just trying to be very simple so that you can follow and achieve yours. So I would drag and place an image that I feel is appropriate for this. I'll just drag and place the image that I feel is appropriate for this. So I think you should have your folder where you save all the images that you are using in your portfolio for easy navigation. So I'll just drag the image and place like so, then double click inside. Yes, double click to select the extent of the image and not the frame. So that way I can reduce the size of the image to fit what I want. So yes, Our portfolio is almost ready. Sorry, just the cover page actually. Cover page, I mean. So this the cover page, the second cover page. So you see, still quite simple, but a different layout. So it's up to you to actually research or search different layouts online or inspirations so to work with. And you can also sketch some layouts first to give you an idea of what you want before you now try out the cover page design. So after this, we would go to the next thing. That would be the profile page. Yes, the profile page. I think I just want to adjust this a little. So you see how I worked with the grids. To preview, Shift W or go to presentation. That way we can see it as full screen. Shift W to come back to this. Okay, let me just adjust this a little. Yes. So you see. All right, I think this works better for me. This works better for me. So reduce the size of the image inside the text box. You see, we are not editing the frame, we are editing the image inside. That's when we are scaling and changing the sizes. So the next, I would go to the preview. The preview, we can see it without the borders. We can see it as it actually would be. So the next, I'm going to okay, let's go back to our normal grid view, and we would be working on the profile. So I'll just create a frame for our image. I want my profile picture to be here. Yes, so that's the format I want to go with. I want to include an image here. So I'll just create a frame like so, almost square. Not necessarily square, but then almost a square, to just have my profile there. Then I would create so you see, we'll be working with the grids to actually help us achieve a balanced presentation or a balanced layout. So I'm now working with my text box. We just change it to Space Grow Text, the fonts that we're using for this lesson, and then we can now fill with placeholder text. I'm just filling this with a dummy text so that we can move quickly. Yes, but then this part should include a profile, or it's like a background profile of who you are, more like a summary. Yes, it can be an executive summary, a profile summary, any summary that just describes who you are. Yes, then I'm going to just include work experience. So depends on you. You can choose what works for you for your profile. I'm just going to edit it, change the size, change the line width and everything. Alright, so I'll change the color of the text. Let's just use green. So we're going to use green, and yes, let's stick with green for a while. So I'll just arrange it like so. Then depending on what works for you, you can include your work experience, you can include your skill sets, you can include your profile. Let's just use profile. Yes, let's use profile. So you can also, So we'll just duplicate this, fill it up, just to fill it up, to fill it up. But depending on you, you should craft it depending on what you want to tell people about. You can craft it based on what you want to tell people about. Yes, yourself. You can put your skill sets, you can put the softwares you use. So that's one thing that people always want to see, the softwares you use. We can just use our logos, a logo to represent the software. Yes, we can use logos to represent the software. But then let's create circular. Yes, let's use the circle ellipse tool. Yes, let's use the ellipse tool. With the ellipse tool, we can create circular shapes. And a circle is an ellipse, so we are just going to to achieve that circle that you can increase and reduce it proportionally. You just hold on Shift for the circle, then hold on Alt to duplicate. Yes, like so. Duplicate and drag. That way we can adjust our layout. So I want to align these shapes. I want to align, let's say the shapes are like this, and I want them to be distributed evenly. I want them to be on the same line. We would go to our Control tab and use the Align Vertical Centers. Yes, or you can align top centers because we want to align it with the top one. Yes, we just use Align Top Centers. Yes, then we'll now use Distribute Horizontal Centers so that the shapes are evenly placed. Yes. So with that alignment bar there, we can achieve an alignment, equal spacing, and the rest. So I'll just duplicate. To duplicate, remember Alt and drag. So all these circles will just represent softwares. I can put the logo of the softwares there, but we're not going to do that now. We are just using this as fillers. I'm just going to increase the spacing between this so that the contents are not conflicting. And then I would use my name. Yes, I can use my name. You can put your name, you can put your contact details. You can put contact details as email, phone number, whatever. But then let me just use my name. I'm increasing the size, still using the green text for this. And yes, like so. So depending on the content you want to show, as I've said. But then this, what I think works for me, we are ignoring the errors. You can see the plus, the red errors to show that the text is overflowing the text box, but we are going to ignore that. Yes, these are some things you can show. You can see these guys also. These are some things that you can show in your profile, resume, or profile. Yes. So you can include your personal information, address, and everything. But then this is what works for me. And I would, we can preview it. View, screen mode, preview. Yes, okay, we see that there's nothing in that text. So I just want to fill it with my image. So I'll just drag and drop and click inside to edit the extent of the image. So I just edit the extent of the image like so. And yes, we have our profile. I think this works, or I can still improve on it. So while creating your portfolio, you're using your visual intellect to achieve balance. Yes, so we are bringing back our grids. Then let me just drag this like so, and let's let me just include some contact details, phone number, email, and what else? Okay, address. Let's use address. Lastly, you can include your reg number. This, if you're a student and you are using your portfolio in school, yes, but then if you're using it outside school, there's no need for the reg number. But then I'm just trying to fill up the details, fill up these details. Yes, so like so. Yes. So this is your profile, and I think this layout works well, works nicely for us. So you can preview, go to view, or you can also use Shift and W to view it as full screen mode. Shift and W. Shift plus W to view it. Okay, so the next is our table of contents. So I want to create the table of contents. I'm just going to duplicate this. To duplicate, I can Control C, Control V to paste. So then I'm just going to use my grids to arrange the layout. Let's change this to table of contents, and okay, let's use project 1. So the table of contents is just going to have the list of our projects, our projects list. Yeah, so I'm just going to increase the size for it to be more legible. I'll change this to the title, the project title itself, then change the color to black. So let's use estate development, or let's do design. So these are just samples that you can use, or these are just an idea you can use. It mustn't be exactly this format, but I'm just showing you how to use the tools to achieve what you want to achieve. So you see, we have just been working with text, image frames, and grids. Shapes, text, image frames, and grids. So these are the basic things that we need. We don't need very advanced tools. We don't need to even use the advanced tools in InDesign. So with the basic tools, we can achieve a very good portfolio. So I'm just going to duplicate this. Let's have, okay, my project is just going to have my portfolio is just going to have 4 projects. 1, 2, 3, 4. So depending on you, it can have more. Yes, but then it's ideal to have one that spans through several building types. If you see, just the naming shows the wealth of experience, or yes, the wealth of experience. You can see there's an estate design, which is more like an urban development. There's a stadium design, there's a structure, there's a high-rise development, then there's rural housing. So your portfolio is nice if you have several building types. So I'm just going to duplicate this, increase the size, just to have that subtle touch there. It's not very important though, but then I just thought of it, and why not try it out? So you can try out different layouts. I'm just going to reduce the opacity of this here. So on the control panel, I'll go and reduce the opacity. You can also do that from the properties tab. So there are similarities with the control panel and the properties tab. So you can see all the similarities. Yes, I'm just going to reduce it like so. It's something I'm comfortable with. So I'm comfortable with this, and we're just going to Shift W to view as full screen mode. So you see our table of contents is ready. The next would now be the project pages. So here we worked on our profile, our cover page, 2 cover pages, profile, and now the table of contents. Next, we are going to be working on the project pages. The project pages are the pages that would include our projects. It's like the main part of the portfolio. So to craft this, I already prepared sketches. for this. Yes, just some sketches that would show the layout of the project pages. So just 3 pages. The first page that has the introduction, then 2 other page layouts. So in creating this, you can actually look out for layout ideas online, then sketch it. It's always good that you sketch it because you already have the project. Files. You already have the concept development, all the layouts, or everything that you want to include. So you should now sketch how the flow is going to be. Okay, this is what should come first, this is what should come next. So you would see that this is my sketch. You would see the contrast. You would see there are some images that are bigger, some are smaller, some are the same size. There are spaces for small text, there's a title. So this whole layout idea is what we'll be using to craft our own from scratch. But then I think I want to adjust the columns. Yes, I would love to adjust the columns for our project files. And in doing so, I'm going to explain several things. So pages, I'm going to explain. Okay, let's go to margin, layout, margin, and columns. So here I will change it to 7. So you can see once I change it, it increases the size, the number of the columns. So I think I actually want to work with 7 columns. But you see the other pages do not change. Why? It's just one page that changes. And then the main reason is because we didn't change it on the parent page. So I'm going to talk about parent pages. You see our pages panel. This pages panel shows all the pages in our document. If you remove the pages panel, we can bring that panel back from Windows. You just go to Window, Pages, and yes, click on Pages to bring it back. So here we have our pages. You would see the list of pages here. Then you also see the parent pages. On each page, you would see a small title, AAA, just to show that is the parent page, a parent that is applied on all the pages. So now we are in page 5, and you can see a parent applied. So to edit, to create a parent, you can just right click and new parent. So we want to create a parent because I want to adjust the columns on that parent for our project pages. So right click new parent, leave it as B parent, leave everything as that, and click OK. So it's a new parent page. So this, as the name implies, as the name implies, is a parent page. Anything you do here would be applied to any of the pages that it is applied to. And we are just going to see how it works. So let's click on Be Parent, and I'm going to change the margins on this parent. So I'll just change it, increase it to 7, and then we'll apply this parents page to our project pages. So once you apply it, you would see that the columns would be updated. So note, we are now working on the parent page. So there are several things that would include on this page that will now affect all the portfolio pages. So parent page is actually useful in an example, naming. If you want to put page number, pagination, that's page number. If you want to work on footers and headers, just the way you do that on Microsoft Word. So we are just going to do that. Yes, let's work on our page numbers. So I'll create a text box. Remember, we're working with space group text. Then I'm just going to type in page, and to include the number, this is how it is done in Adobe InDesign, to include the number of each page so that it updates on any page that we apply it to, so that you're not manually inputting the pages. So you just go to type, insert special character, markers, current page number. So once you click on current page number, it applies the current page number, and the current page number is B. That's for the B parent. That's why it's B. But then when we apply it to the pages of the document, you would see that that B keeps updating based on the number of the page. So the next, let's just arrange it like so. Yes. I think this position works. Yeah, the position works for me. So next, I want to include a section marker at the top, and we'll see why I'm including a section marker later. But then this section marker is just to act as the purpose why I'm adding this is so that each project would have its own marker. So I just go to insert special character, and I go to markers. So once I go to marker, I would select section, sorry, not section symbol. I would go to marker, section marker. So it applies section to it. So depending on the section that we apply in the document, that place would keep updating. So I'm just going to align it to the right. Yes, like so. And then we would come back to it later. You would see why. But the purpose of this is so that the project title would be on that page. So that if it's not the introduction page, we would still know what that project is that we are on. Yeah, and you understand it better. Just the way we saw on Boluwatife's portfolio, you'd see that all the pages of that project had the page title, so that everybody is aware of the particular page that we are, or the particular project that we are on. So that's the reason for section markers. Section marker, page marker. So I'm just going to align right to like so, and then once we are done, I'm just going to select the portfolio pages, yes, and apply our B parents to it. So I'll select everything, right click, or I can just drag and drop, but then let me just select it, right click, and apply parents to pages. So I'll change it from A parent to B parent. So once I change it, it automatically changes the columns that we applied. We can see the border, the page number is updated already. We can also see the border for our section markers. You can see the previous pages do not have what this page has, because those pages are still on A parent. These pages now are on B parent. So we can see the dotted rectangle at the top for the section. Yes, though no section has been applied yet, that's why it is blank. But then you would update that as we proceed. So we are just going to start from our first page. This is the introduction page, or the introduction page to the project. So this is the layout, and I'm just going to use our frame to follow my sketch. So this frame would have an image here, and then I would now have the text below it. So I'm just going to copy and paste it here, so that yes, we can now use this to adjust the project title. I'll reduce the size. I'll change it to let's use hotel development. Yes. So I'm arranging the layout based on my sketch, at least to the best possible means, while still trying to achieve visual balance. So I'm going to reduce the size of this text because it's too big. Okay. So to reduce it proportionally, there's a way to reduce it proportionally. I hold on Shift and Control. Once I click Shift and Control, I can reduce the text. If I don't do that, it will only crop the text or distort it. So to reduce proportionally, I'll just hold on Shift and Control. This, if I don't do that, it's going to crop it. It's going to, yes. But then to reduce proportionally, I would have to hold on Shift and Control at the same time. So you see it's distorted if I don't hold Shift. If I don't hold Control, it crops. So that way you have to hold the two, Shift and Control. So let's just copy this and paste here for our descriptive text, like so. Yes. So this is based on my sketch, and then I would have small project outline here. Might just be building type, building the year and the location, depending on what I want to show there. Okay, I'm still looking at my sketch. I have O1 there, then I have lines here for the project outline. So I'm going to change the line width. Yes, then just apply year, location, and building type. Let's use project type. Yes. Then location and the year. Yeah, so this works. So I'm going to change the line weights so I can now fill in the details of it. I'll change it to regular, but then okay, we didn't type commercial, I'll just change it to regular. Yes, so that's the change in line widths help the contrast. So it helps the contrast, help the visual aesthetics. So I'm just going to fill in different details there for the outline of this. And yes, so we have our cover page. So the last thing left is my frame. I have to include an image here. So I'm working with a project file. I've sorted my image, I've prepared them, and I'm just going to be dragging and dropping. So I just drag and drop and it updates this frame. Yes. So we see that it's scaled up very much. So I'm just going to okay, I'm looking for a better image. Yes. All right, so let me just find a better image. So I found it, I'll just drag and drop, then I can now adjust the size. So click inside, you can zoom out to see the whole extent of the image. Then hold on Shift and scale it down. So you should always hold on Shift when you're scaling up or scaling down so that the image remains. You should always hold on Shift so that the image is scaled up or down proportionally. It's not distorted. If you don't do that, your image would always be distorted. So we can see how, so I just copied from my sketch. I just got some ideas from the portfolios that we checked out earlier. Yeah, to view it, Shift W, and you can view it as it should be. And escape to go back. And I'm just going to adjust this a little. So you should always learn to keep your layout balanced. After you work with grids, you should also look at it in full screen and adjust the balance visually. Yes, anything you don't think it's okay, you can always adjust it. Yeah, I think this works better for me. So we can view it in full screen. Yes, so Shift W for full screen mode, and you can see I'll just adjust this a little. So I'm checking to see the visual balance. So the more you look at several ideas, good work online, the more you're able to judge what layout is good and what layout is bad. Yeah, so it's from exposure. Yes. So we are working on the second page. So based on my sketch, I'm going to create frames based on it. I'll just create all the frames, like fix it there before I import the images. So we are starting with this frame and trying to achieve visual balance. So based on my sketch, I'm going to create frames. Yes. So I can just click on this frame and duplicate. Yeah, so the next thing is our title and small text. So I'm just going to copy and drag. Yes. So Alt and drag to duplicate. Alt and drag to duplicate. So that way I can now have my page title. I'll just reduce the size so that the hierarchy still works. We know that this is not another project title, it's just a subtitle in this project. So I'm just going to reduce the size like so, change the name of the title. Yes. And next are the 4 frames that are below from my sketch. Okay. I'm just going to select the two and increase the width so that they increase together. They increase evenly. So I'm just going to select them, shift and drag, Alt and drag to duplicate. Yeah, so we have our 4 frames, and then for my sketch, I'm just going to import images to those frames that we created now. So I already have an idea of what I want there. That's why I created the 4 frames. So I'm just going to show my concept development process for this project. This is a project that we have worked on since, so I'm just using it to fill up this project pages. So I've imported the image and the image is large. I'll just select inside, zoom out, you can see the extent of the image, and I'm just going to scale it down. Yeah, I can adjust the size from here. If I change it to 25, it's still large. So you can edit the text here. Let me type in 10. Oh, it's still very large, 5. 3, okay, 3 works. I can still scale it up better. So we can see we're actually trying to achieve balance and legibility. So that our ideas are not contrasting, but then they can easily see it. So I'm just adjusting the size to fit properly. Yes, like so. And next we are going to import the image for the second frame. Yes, so I'll just go here. Oh, now, yes, I have the image here. Yes, this is the second image of the concept development, and I'm going to drag and drop just like we did in the first one. So I'm going to edit it exactly as we did to the first one. So you get an idea of how our layout is coming into shape from the frames to the adjustment based on the images. So I'm going to fill the remaining 2 images with, yes, alright, so I'm scaling it down
like so, just exactly as I did to the others, still a bit bigger, so I'm going to reduce it more. Yes, let's use 3.7. All right, I know this is a lot of, looks like a lot of hard work, but then it's easy as the days goes by. With more practice, it's easy. It's especially when you're working on it this way. You have your content ready. You have a layout you're trying to achieve, which is a very good layout. You have your contrast, so it's quite interesting to fill it up. Why? Because you are seeing your ideas come to life. So we are going to fill the last image. Yes, for the part. Okay, I feel this is the wrong image. I'll just change it. To change it, I'll just drag the new image and still drop in that same place, and it automatically changes to the new image that you drag to it. So that's how InDesign works. You can update it by just dragging a new image to it. So yes, so we have our concept development. So I'm just going to do some small edits to it with layers. So in this layers tab, we can see one layer after the other. So you can create a new layer and now import or drag your elements to that new layer. So any layer on top would actually be on top in the page, on your page, just the same way Photoshop works, layers upon layers. So that's it. You can, to bring this one, I can just drag it and drop over this other layouts, or drag the one on top and drop it down like so, and you see that the arrangement changes. This one comes above the other, just showing that it's on a layer above the other. Yeah, so it didn't achieve what I wanted, so I'm just going to change the blending mode. All right, click, go to effects, transparency. I'll just change the blending mode because I want the text at the back to show. I'll change it to multiply, so the text of the other image shows very well. I just changed it to multiply so that all the lighter text or white text would, white space would go out. Yes, so it's not obstructing the text in the lower layer as before. So lastly, we have links. So I've talked about pages, I've talked about layers, and then we would also talk about links soonest. So the next on the layout, we have a small text and we have another frame. I'm just going to duplicate. To duplicate, remember Alt and drag. Alt and drag, and it duplicates the image. And I'm just going to update it like so. Yeah, our frame is what's left, so I can just select this and duplicate. Yes, so auto drag to duplicate, then I want to scale it up. So I just drag the anchor point. Okay, to scale it proportionally, remember I have to hold shift and control. If you don't do that, it won't, you'll just be increasing the size of the frame. So to increase the size of the image like I did here, Control Alt, then you drag the anchor point. You hold on it, you drag the anchor point. So it increases the image. So now I'm going to talk about links. So InDesign is such that it works with links. And these links, it actually saves all your images, all your elements all your media elements as links. That way it helps to reduce the size of the file, so that depending on the image that you import, it doesn't really affect this file size as much. Let's say we have a 200-page document that has up to 1,000 images. If everyone is 5 MB, your file will now be in the gigs, and it will not be very heavy and difficult to work with. So yes, so I have my project files, and I save all my files, all my media files in this project file, so that I don't have to look for any, because if one of the files get deleted, it's going to show error, because all these are links. They are links to the folder where you have them actually saved. Yeah, so that way you are working with them as links. It helps to save the file size. It also helps the file to be light and easy to work with. So I'm just going to show you that you can see the links. If you zoom in, you would see each of the file. You can see the link icon at the top left, just to show that they are links. So if I select it, it appears under links. So we just selected that image here, and we can see it in the links here. So if you right click and relink, I can change the image to something else. So that's another way we can change our images. Instead of dragging and dropping, we can just right click on the link and relink, and we select the location of our new image, and it updates automatically. So I'm just going to increase the size of this image like so. Yes, and this works for me. So that's a good way to update, or a nice way to update your images from relink. But mind you, all your images have to remain in that folder. Once it gets deleted, it's going to detect it as an error. And I'll just show you how. Okay, let's say we want to delete this image. Let's delete this image. Once I come here, you can see the button. It shows file missing. Double click to relink, and you can see the icon here, the question icon, because it can't see the document. It's looking for the document's location. So I just located the image again, and we see that the error has left. Yeah, so you saw we just double clicked to relink, and we can see that the error has left. So another way to work with links is to, let's say we want to embed the link. Yes, if you highlight the yes, if you highlight it, you can see the location of the file. So to embed the link, we just right click and embed. So embed links is a way to save all the files in all the media files in the document. So you can see there's no more any links icon. Why? Because these images are no longer linked anymore. They are now embedded into the document, such that if I save it, they are saved with the document. That way I can share the document. So we embed the links if we want to share the document and we don't necessarily want to start sharing a folder with several files or plenty scattered files here and there. We just want to share one document. Let's say I'm the designer, I'm giving it to another editor, or yes. So InDesign allows that. You can embed all the links into the file so that you can share it or save it. That way you don't have to work with your folder anymore. So I'm just going to find a suitable render for this view. Yes, like so. So you see the contrast in sizes, they actually help to tell the story that we want to tell. Yeah, you can see I kept it to the same view. You can see all the views are consistent. It's that consistent perspective or consistent axonometric view, the front top aerial view. So that's the idea for this page. We show the conceptual development, we see the finished design, then we now have a render. So we have learned how to work with pages, we have learned how to work with layers. All these ones now are embedded into the file. There are no more links. Anyone that is a link, you would see the link icon on it, like this. The visualized, the render, you can see the link icon on it to show that it's still a link. So I'm just using my eyes to check the balance. So you should have that leverage to balance things up. If you think, okay, this is a bit off, if it's a bit to the left or to the right or to the top or to the bottom, you can feel free to adjust it like so. So the last thing we are going to do is to update the section marker. Remember our section markers, we said that the section marker is in the section marker we are going to have our project title on it. So that project title will be hotel development. So now I'm editing, changing design concept development to design concepts. Yes, I just thought to edit that. Then I want my section markers to have the project title. That way, if people are on this page, they know the project that we are working on or looking at. Sorry. Okay, we are still looking at the hotel development. So to update the section marker, you right click on that page, numbering and sections, then edit section marker. You start a new section, then you update section marker. We can type in hotel development. So we can see the triangle icon appear on that page. So that triangle shows the start of a new section. And we can see that it has updated all the pages that follow with that hotel development. So all the pages for this project would have the hotel development. So remember to right click. Yeah, to update, you right click, go to numbering and section, start new section, then update the section marker. So the same thing for a new project, a new project page. If we have another project page, we right click and numbering and section, yeah, the same thing. So this is our last page, and I'm going to work on the last layout based on my sketch. So I'm just going to use the frame to fill up the frames as I have in my sketch pad. Yeah, I'll just duplicate it like so and just try to get approximately the layout I have in my sketch. So I'm just going to update it like so, drag this and drop. So I'm just using my sketch to update everything evenly. Then once I'm done updating the frame, I'll now drag and drop the images based on my idea for it. So the last part is the text below. So in my sketch I had this, so I'm just trying to do this. This can be like a closing or conclusion or short description of the design solution for that project. So you see, we started from the sketch and now we are now achieving a good layout based on our sketch. So I'll just go to my project file, project folder, and drag in some images to the frames just to fill up the spaces. So you can see I changed the size. To change the size, we double click and I scaled it evenly holding the shift key. So to do the same, yes, there's a way to copy images. If I want to copy this image to a new text to another frame, I click copy, then I select the text frame, right click and paste in place. No, paste into, sorry, paste into. If I paste in place, it's just going to place it on that same position that it is in the sheet. So I'll delete that. So I'll select the frame, paste into. So paste into, it places that same image into this other frame. Yeah, so this is a way to copy images from one frame to another. So I did that again. I selected the frame, right click, paste into, or you can use the shortcuts, which is Ctrl Alt V. So I'm just going to relink. So if I relink with another image, yes, it changes the image. So yes, so relink. So we see that the image is updated. Yeah. So that's a good way to work with links. I select the image, right click, relink, and find the new image I want to be there. So I can copy it, paste into. You can see I just copied that image from that place to this other place. Let's say we want to change the image. I just select it, look for it on the links, relink. Then I go select the new image that I want to change it with. Let's go for, okay, let me select this. Yeah, so it updates that, yes. So I'll just select the image, so it finds it on the link, right click, and I'll select the new image I wanted to replace with. So once I select the new image I wanted to replace with, it updates the photo or the media file. Yes, let me just use the floor plan. So we'll update the floor plans here. Alright, so I'll just scale it down like so that the floor plan shows fully. Yes. So you should have all the files you want ready. Is your call to decide what you want to include in your portfolio. Is your call. The floor plans, perspective, sections, yes, what you think would wow them. So I did the same thing. I right click, paste into place into. So I'm going to relink and select the second floor plan. Yeah, this should be it. So I'm just going to scale it up while watching the top floor plan to be sure that they should be the same scale. Yes, I'm just going to watch to see that they are the same scale or almost the same scale. Yes, I think this works. We have the two floor plans, and yeah. So lastly here I want to include a render. a visualization view. Let's say the front perspective. Yes, I'm just going to include the front perspective. So you see the way I arranged it, the plan view, that's the ground and the first floor plans or typical floor plans, then the approach elevation, still following that same format. So you see, you should plan your layouts. So to view, go to screen mode and click preview. I can hold Shift W to also change it to full screen page, full screen. So I'm just going to use my eyes to visually balance things up. Yes, we have gotten rid of the grid and now we are seeing it as it is. So you see we have our complete page layouts. I go back to normal. So we can save our document, and then I'm going to also show you how to export. Yes, how to export documents. Yeah. So we see we have achieved our portfolio layout that actually shows our project layout that shows the whole flow and idea of the portfolio. Yes, so remember our content cover page, our profile, our table of contents, and the project page. So I'm just going to save this file as architectural portfolio. So I'll save the file with Ctrl S normally to save, but then you should have been saving your file from the onset. So then I'm now going to show you how to export. So this is what your typical portfolio should look like. This is just a quick one, but then just to show you the whole idea. Cover page, your profile page that would have all your skills and a brief about and your software work experience, then the table of contents, and then the project pages. So you see how everything played out. Also the layouts, you see the hierarchy, you see the contrast, you see the typography, you also see the alignment. You see that the grid actually helped us to align things properly. That's why working with grid, it's very, very important. So to create a new page, I'll just add the last page. You just go click the plus button to create a new page. So on this new page, I want to delete this text here. So I can still have my be parent applied, but to delete, I'll just select Control Alt. I'll use Control Alt. This is my parent page, and this is the last page here. So, but then I don't want the section marker to be here. So I'll just use Control Alt to select it. Yes. And once I have it selected, it removes it from the B parent. Not that it removes it, you can now select the image and edit it on that page. You can move it, though you still have B parent applied. Every other one remains the same, but for that page, you can now edit it. So me, I want to delete it. I'll just delete it to remove the section marker. Then I'm going to add our last page. So it's just more like an ending or a closing page. I'll just have text here. So I think I'll just copy the text from the first page. I'll just copy the text from the first page. Yeah, I'll copy our text from here. Select Ctrl C and paste here Ctrl V. So notice our text is black, so I'm just going to select the text color. Remember, we have to select the text color. and change it to white. And now we have our final page. So it's up to you to format it to format it based on your discretion. But then this is an outline of what we have here. Yes, so I'm sure that in this lesson you have been able to learn a lot of things. The tools that we use in InDesign, setting up your layouts with grid, sketching your layouts, the design principles used to achieve good, aesthetically pleasing portfolios. So I'm just scrolling up and down for you to see how it all comes together. So now to save, I'm going to you can use export or Control E. Yes, Control E to export. So I'm going to print. Adobe PDF print is if it is to be printed. Interactive is if it's to be used for digital devices. So it's, you would select, your choice is based on, would be based on the purpose for the portfolio, or depending on how you are sharing it. If you're sharing it online, you just use Adobe Interactive, Adobe PDF Interactive, and we can set, or you can just copy the settings like so. JPEG lossless, then we use maximum quality or high quality. We can use 300. Okay, we use 300 if you want to print. So it's based on you, or based on the format that it will be shared. Yes, but then this is the default format I use: JPEG, high quality, resolution 4144. So if you're going to print it, you can now select the other one. If not, let's leave it as this. So you export as pages. Even if you export as spread, it's still the same thing, because one spread is one page. We did not do facing pages. Since we didn't do facing pages, one spread is one page. So I'm going to export as pages. Alright, so we are going to click export. So we are going to ignore this warning. Ignore the warning. The warning is just shows, the warning is just for the overset text, but we are working with dummy text, so we are going to overlook it, then export your pages. So it's exporting as a PDF. So when it's done, we now have our portfolio in a PDF format that is light and easy to share. So this is the final PDF portfolio, and we can see how it looks. So now I'm guessing you should have an idea of how to craft your own portfolio. You can use this video, this lesson, as a guide to craft yours. All the resources shared would be helpful to help you craft yours. So thank you for joining this lesson. A quick exercise, you can use this as a guide to craft your own portfolio. Yes, your portfolio. So I think that's what you should be looking at. All the resources shared here are useful. So as an architect, your portfolio acts as an access to your experience and your level of work. So with your portfolio, companies, lecturers, colleagues can easily assess how far you have come, where you need to improve on, your quality of work, and also if you're capable of a particular task. You don't have to do a lot of projects, you just have to do good projects and a good layout to showcase your work. Thank you very much for joining this course. Thank you very much for joining this lesson. Till next time, peace.